come and lost. You still lost the game.
I agree.
You still lost the game.
It's a mediocre result.
It's positive on Thomas Frank, yes, but you still have to plant the seed. You can be positive.
It's a building block in the first game of the season.
We need to do better. If you want players to push themselves,
new squad. You've lost players, not only in the transfer market, but injuries.
Get the violin out, because every manager goes through that.
You're playing against PSG.
Talk about the teams at this point of the season needing more in the transfer window. Who can they bring in for them to define the season? Do you feel that way about PSG? Or do you think that if things stayed the same, that there'll be a real competitor?
I think there will be a real competitor. Again, we said it before, this was not a fully fit PSG side. 6 days of training going into this game, playing Spurs who are ready to go into a Premier League season in the coming weekend. It's not a great balance of scale of things. From a Tottenham's perspective, we just talked about managers making decisions. We praised Thomas Frank for showing the discipline in dropping Bissouma today for this game. He's made that decision. As a manager, as a player, you live by the decisions you make. Bissouma, for me, would have been the player that could come on today to help stifle the impact that Fabian Ruiz and Lee had in that midfield area.
Yeah, sure.
But already,
that's Bissouma's fault.
Thomas Frank, yes, it is Bissouma's fault. But again, these are the types of decisions that you make as a manager. You've got to live by.
You have to stamp your authority.
You have to stamp your authority, and he did. But I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. If Bissouma played today or was on the bench, it could have maybe been a different...
Right. Can I try to answer your question, Copy? Okay. PSG didn't need to go that much into the transfer window. They got Zabarny from Bournemouth. That's massive, and they got Chevalier, and that's about it. If they wouldn't have changed, I don't know if the makeup of this team would have changed that much, because they are a strong, robust team with an identity. Today, even, they presented a tactical wrinkle because they didn't have Joao Neves. They're not going to have him either for match day 1 in Ligue 1 that kicks off this weekend because of the suspension handed out by FIFA after the Club World Cup. But look at Gonzalo Ramos, for example. He played 12 minutes, but he offers you, again, a variety tactically into the game because it's such a fluid front three. But Gonzalo Ramos is the only one that can be that reference point inside of the box. And when Spurs was actually pretty organized, they understood their distancing, their spacing, not giving PSG options. They started to move it wide, work around those areas. And the definitive goal for PSG to send it into penalty kicks was a cross from wide and Gonzalo Ramos being there. They already had this. They were already a good team, and they've only added a couple of players to make them even better.
The thing is, as well as Poppy, to add to your question, to add to that conversation, is if you're a player at PSG right now, where do you leave to go? Like, you're one of the big clubs in world football. You've just won the Champions League. Financially, they're a club that can compete financially with any club on the world stage. You're in a great place.
Well, as we've seen, not a lot of them are leaving by their own choice. It's kind of a forceful choice, isn't it? Thomas Frank, just quickly, Charlie, if you're him going into the changing room now, is it a positive team talk that you're having with Tottenham?
Absolutely.
It is.
You have to. You don't want to come in and be like, this is bad, this is negative, we lost the game, we're up 2-0. Everyone knows that. You're up 2-0, 84 minutes in. You should have enough to see out the game. But where Tottenham were and where they're going, I think you have to be uplifted by seeing the organization from this group. They're missing depth. That's what it comes down. They're missing quality. So if you're looking at some of the subs, I go, man, Thomas Frank is still learning the squad. Solanke comes in, he's clearly not fit. Archie Gray came in, I still think he has a ways to go to being an impact player at this level. Matthijs Tel, again, someone who is, to me, not quite there.
On top of that.
You can be positive, but you have to plant a seed. You have to let these players know, look, we need to start seeing out games. Whether you like it or not, you can be positive, but you have to be real.
He did plant a seed. This is PSG.
You have to be,
They've won everything.
No, but Charlie, you have to be real. Otherwise, you're just going to be okay to accept mediocrity. No, we did well, but you have to plant a seed to say
that wasn't mediocre.
You still come and lost. You still lost the game.
I agree.
You still lost the game.
It's a mediocre result.
It's positive on Thomas Frank, yes, but you still have to plant the seed. You can be positive.
It's a building block in the first game of the season.
We need to do better. If you want players to push themselves,
new squad. You've lost players, not only in the transfer market, but injuries.
Get the violin out, because every manager goes through that.
You're playing against PSG. Let's be real.
Get the violin out. Let every manager go through this. It's football. This is what we do. This is business for.
Donnarumma, maybe the #1 in the world. Chevalier also at that standard.
No, let's get this clear. I said I understand Donnarumma going. I said Chevalier is not a drop-off. He's not a drop-off to Donnarumma. I think he's a great goalkeeper, and overall in the scheme of things, Paris Saint-Germain might be having a good deal. If they can sell Donnarumma, who they got on a free, and they've got a goalkeeper in that same bracket, when you say about top goalkeepers and all, he's up there. Being scouted by all the other top clubs, it is what it is. Feel free to come back at me. Yeah, you two little private school-educated boys.
I'm certainly not going to come at you despite my education. What I'm going to tell you is that Lucas Chevalier has a certain profile that Luis Enrique was looking for. Who's a better shot stopper? Donnarumma is a better shot stopper.
But do you truly believe that, Nico?
Yes,
that is the only reason why Donnarumma. It's more about the profile than the money.
I wonder, again, I'll say what I said in the pregame. I wonder if the contract situation was sorted, they still would have gone out. No, of course they wouldn't have. I don't think so, that they would have gone after Lucas Chevalier, having a goalkeeper like Donnarumma at his best form with a PSG uniform. There were questions before. There were no questions. He's going to win the Copa Trophy, is he not? For the Levi Yashin Trophy, is he not? For the best goalkeeper in the world?
He'll win that, yeah, I'm sure he will. Definitely.
And honestly, it feels crazy. I understand that Luis Enrique wants his play out of the back goalkeeper. But what wins you games are the shots that you stop down the stretch in important moments. But hey, listen, Luis Enrique knows much more than any of us here on the desk. And if that's the profile goalkeeper he wants, he got it.
Can I say, this is football. We've seen this happen before, right? We've seen clubs win Champions League and sack the manager the next day or so. So this is nothing new in football. This happens.
New kid on the block, 2 goals allowed, 5 shots on goal, 3 saves. His save percentage at 60%. He was dominating the headlines, obviously, coming into the game, wasn't he? All the focus was around that. And at some points in the game, Twitter was having a good time with Donnarumma, do you miss me yet?
How could they not?
Gone the other way.
I do think ultimately you just said something that is a certain truth. They're going to be okay. Like, PSG is a good enough team that even though you get rid of Donnarumma, as crazy as it is, because if you told me who would you rather keep, I'd keep Donnarumma. But as crazy as it sounds, despite that, I think PSG have the structure and the setup for them to be all right and still compete for the Champions League, which is what they want to do anyway.
I'll simplify it for you. PSG have the common sense to trust in Luis Enrique because everything he's done so far and what he said about the club, the players that he wants, the recruiting, how he wants to take the club, they've been successful. Right. You will be a very silly director or CEO of the club not to listen to a manager that's taking you to the promised land. Trust his vision. He knows what he's doing. This is his decision. He's taking responsibility. I'll give him credit for taking the responsibility and coming out to say, it's my decision.
He set a statement, hasn't he? Has his stock gone up even more, Charlie, Luis Enrique, over this past week with everything that's happened off the pitch and then winning today?
It's hard for his stock to go any higher than it is. We're talking about a complete performance all last season. Not only that, but the managing of talent. So tactically, masterclass with this group. Adjustments, but managing personalities. We've seen coaches. How many times have we seen coaches? They get the tactics right, but they don't get the man management right. Or they 100%. Get the man management right, but they don't get the tactics right.
Is he the best manager in the world?
And at this very moment, he is the best manager in world football.
Yeah,
you can't argue.
You can't argue against that.
You cannot argue that. You lose an Mbappe, and you win the Champions League the following season. You win a quadruple, nearly the quintuple. I mean,
but not only that, he foresaw the loss of Mbappe. He understood that they could be better without Mbappe because most managers, you have an asset like Mbappe, you do everything within you to keep
for the
a guy like Mbappe.
For the business of football clubs, shirt sales, that is massive. There'll be people above him who would say, no, but he foresaw it.
And not only that, they improved. He understood, all right, I'm not going to have Mbappe. I'm going to make this team better because I'm going to plug these guys here. I'm going to play this way, and they're going to play the way I want to play. We're not going to be relying on one superstar. And frankly, if he did that with Mbappe, of course he can do that moving on from Donnarumma.
But on top of all of that, right, you move on from Mbappe. What do? He took Ousmane Dembele and said, I can make you into a Ballon d'Or winner.
And they fell out as well. They did have a little fallout throughout last season.
Remember the knock on Dembele. He's not going to work for the team. Lazy, doesn't show up. He's a team player first and foremost. He shows up. It's not about him. He does the dirty work. He was doing all the press last season, this year. This match, the assist, the game-tying assist that was needed from somebody to come up with something, and it came from Dembele. I love the fact that when you're talking about a manager, a complete manager who has total grasp of everything a manager is asked to do. That's Luis Enrique.
He didn't like talking about the Ballon d'Or nominees, but everybody is, guessing that he will win the Johan Cruyff Award. Will he? Is there anybody that's close to winning Manager of the Year over him?
The only person that probably might be mentioned is Arne Slot at Liverpool, what he did. You're talking about taking over Jurgen Klopp, the big personality he was, and to win a Premier League title like he did in his first year, and then even now with recruiting, I think Arne Slot's the only one that'll be up there, but there's no doubt Luis Enrique right now is the best manager in world football.
So no argument, he'd get it from all you boys.
mean, Hansi Flick is up there, what he did with Barcelona. Yes. I think they would have gotten to a final of the Champions League.
He'll be up there as well.
You're forgetting one manager, too. In Europa League. I'll just leave it at that.
The Bodo Glimt manager. What was his name? Kjell Knutsen.
Oh,
yeah, sure.
Just a little honorable mention.
I think so too.
Just a little love to our favourite team.
Luis Enrique is going to win it. What he's done with PSG is simply extraordinary.
Yeah.